Okay, so before I move on to the main part of the video, I want to make a few points here in the beginning. First and foremost, for those of you who do not have access to the mod or are unable to have it because you're on console exclusively, the negative values you see simply indicate that it's either deactivated or it's already at vanilla values. So fall height -1000, that's your default threshold before you take fall damage, and then -1 for movement speed, carry weight, and time speed just mean that they're disabled, so they too are at vanilla values. And then the boxes there, they're all deactivated, of course. I wouldn't upload a test video if I had stuff hidden in the background. And then when I activate them, then it's filled in with a lighter gray square. And then even here, if you see the modded values I have anytime I just want to derp around and enjoy the benefits of PC gaming, you can see the values there. And this is where I first saw the impact and emphasis values at 1.3 for their multipliers. And even here, I don't take it at face value, because even though most of them are accurate, some of them, I think if I tried to change emphasis and impact here, I wouldn't see a translation in the game. So in addition to pointer issues with the memory addresses, I would think, some of them just have discrepancies, and so I don't rely on it wholeheartedly. It's just a nice starting point, and then if I'm able to gather enough observations and confirm it for myself, then I upload it here and share it with you guys or anyone who cares to watch it, right? But yeah, that's where I got those values. And then even if I were able to look at the game files, this game, as much as I love it, it's very glitchy. And so what you see in the game files doesn't always translate into the final product of your gameplay. And clearly what we care about is what is in the final product of the gameplay. And so while the files may say one thing, it doesn't always translate. So I'm always going to rely on the gameplay, and that's why I'm very picky with my test subjects, and I try to isolate their variables whenever I can. You'll even see here that after case 1, I had to reload because I probably hit death in his head, since he is weaker at the head. And I obtained a much higher damage value than the others, and I need all of them to be uniform so that even if I'm not hitting the exact same place, I'm hitting the same level of vulnerability, and thus all of my damage values are uniform. And what I mean by level of vulnerability is that while I can't say that Death has any vulnerable animations per se, maybe he does, but I haven't really looked at it, other enemies definitely do. The most obvious one is their stagger animation, which we can transition into a knockdown animation if we have enough power. But even without stagger animations, the most common one I can think of is when ogres do their drop kick. You can inflict more damage on them because they're vulnerable during that time. And if you have high enough knockdown, you can attack them and then it triggers to an instant knockdown for them. Now, with the bugginess, it can then bite you back in the ass, and then they instant reset back into an attack. So, give or take the pros and cons there. But anyway, there is just points of vulnerability that vary, and I wanted to eliminate that. And so, isolating the variables wherever I could, distance, attack power, weapons used, when I decide to hit him, and then of course, since sorcery spells take so long to cast, I do it just to protect myself from the scythe attack. But even if it were quick, I would still wait and do it at the same time, just for that consistency. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I love both augments. It's really nice to see that they are multiplicative with the appropriate spells, of course. Impact is still more versatile because it does aid in even the non-physical spells. I remember using Combustion on Death with impact, and yeah, sure enough, it didn't help terribly much, but it was still helpful. Like, I could do it one less time than if I didn't have impact. So if I'm able to stack them multiplicatively, that's amazing. I mean, Gicel as it is my favorite sorcery spell, even more so than Maelstrom. Maelstrom's great, but there's just something satisfying about Gicel. So if there were any personal recommendations I could make, especially after things from this video, it would just be choose impact if you have to pick one, because that one is just more universal, especially since it doesn't appear that emphasis is even more powerful with Magick, but maybe it is with a spell or two. But as you know, I say in my description, I'm not going to try and make an exhaustive list of attacks and weapon skills that emphasis or impact aid or do not aid in. That would be a very laborious endeavor. So, you know, if you notice it's more powerful one way or the other, then great, you know, use it. I'm always gonna use impact as a melee and then emphasis as a magic user. And now that I know that they can stack with each other with the appropriate spells, I'm just gonna have both of them on me more often than not now. So yeah, it's just a good time, and without any further delay, here's the test cases that I've made. And again, please read the description and the pinned comment, since that's a more formal summary of my test cases and why I chose to do them the way I did.